Okay. You guys have been requesting this channel for at least once a week for the last, 2 years. And so I thought, TJ Toons, let's do it. TJ Toons! Sharing my stories for fun. TJ Toons is an animator who has done a lot of work with a lot of familiar faces. Haminations, Something Else YT, Young Tales. And so we are gonna give them a whirl together right now. And right before we get started, 2 things. 1, if you could boop like on this video, I would really appreciate it. And the subscribe button, if you haven't done that. 2, merch is on the store, robertidk.net. We have the legendary Mingus hat and the iconic muffin shirt. Pick yours up after the video. Okay, let's do this. I'm ready for some fun. Are you ready for some fun? Because I am. RobertIDK, TJ Toons, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Hi, hello. Today we have a special guest today. The one and only, Mr. Here It Comes.
No! Why do you have to do me like
Hello,
that?
Bryson.
No!
Hello, Bryson.
Dude, since that video.
I watched your video.
The swoosh video!
Dude, since
Classic.
that video, everybody's been like, hey, here it comes. I'm just never gonna live that down.
Yeah, I brought my buddy Bryson over today to talk about some dumb things we did as kids.
Oh, yeah,
brain.
classic.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but Bryson's kind of well known for his smooth brainness.
No wrinkles.
Yeah, no wrinkles. Would you say that you were always like this, from birth? Or maybe
Yes. Maybe I got dropped.
Yes, unfortunately, the smooth brain, you either got it or you don't. You can't develop a smooth brain over time. We have tried many tactics over the years to induce a smooth brain over time, but we have yet been unsuccessful.
Or maybe
Yes. Maybe I got dropped. I don't know.
maybe or
Possibly.
maybe it had something to do with that one time you got brain damage from your brother.
So
Got
jeez.
what?
Oh, that's also from the video. Yeah, when I got
for
pushed into-
everyone, for those of you who don't know,
Okay,
what
news
I'm talking about,
stories.
just go and watch Brody's video real quick and come back. But
Classic, we've seen
I
that.
kind of had a similar experience actually, except I didn't get brain damage, but I was pretty close.
I don't think I actually got. Well, it's questionable whether I got brain damage.
Yeah,
or
but
not.
I was pretty
possible.
close to either getting one or even dying from it.
All right, the perfect combination of animation stories, the dumb things we did as kids, and the almost... Honestly, I feel like if I did my almost story, it would be really hard to make it funny because it was me just suffering in bed for a whole year. I don't have any cool action moments from it, but usually these are some of the most fun stories you can get.
Basically, my head got stuck on a metal pole once.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
So this happened when I was 4 or 5 years old.
that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, I was living in Korea, in a very urban area, and my mom took
Metal
me
poles
and my
everywhere.
brothers, Peter and Daniel, outside for some fresh air. So nearby our apartment, there was an empty lot and some alleyway.
Ooh.
I think it was some abandoned demolition site or something. And my mom would
Oh.
always tell me never go there because it was dangerous. Obviously, bunch of
Kids.
leftover concrete and construction stuff.
Good
that
mom.
Kids,
You dumb kids.
shouldn't go near.
Yeah, bro, you don't want to trip and fall into a thing of concrete and just get stuck there for all time.
Yes, of course. Yes, getting eternally stuck in concrete.
That's how most kids get hurt in construction zones, of course.
That's the main danger, for sure. For sure. I think also as a kid, we vastly overestimate the likelihood of us getting stuck and sinking into things like quicksand, you know? Childhood and TV shows and movies I watched as a kid really made me overestimate how much quicksand was going to be a problem in my life, you know?
Fall into a thing of concrete and just get stuck there for all time.
But on this particular day, my mom was talking to one of her neighborhood friends, and me and my brothers just kind of looked at each other and was like,
Go,
"Wanna
jump
play
into the
tag at
cement.
empty lot?" And we all just instinctively, agreed upon it. And Daniel was it at the time, and he was chasing me
Oh.
up everywhere. He was chasing me up this hill once, and
Oh,
this
no.
hill is kind of made of those sandy things that you mix with water to make concrete and stuff.
Yeah.
But once I got on top, I saw over the sandy hill, I saw a bunch of metal poles just bunched up
boy.
together in the other side at the bottom. And before I could say anything and turn around and say anything, my brother just shoved me
Oh
over,
my
the
gosh,
edge, and I
no!
fell face on one of the poles. I don't really remember what happened
No.
after that.
What?
But the doctor did tell me I actually would have died if the pole was stuck like deeper in my head. But that's kind of why I have part of my hair down all the time. Like I don't want people to see the scar.
Oh my
No
gosh.
way.
So,
Oh, that's not
you know
bad at all,
how,
dude.
like-
That scar isn't bad at all, dude. I would say don't worry too much about it. If you really want, there are certain treatments you can do for scars on the face, like micro needling. But honestly, I think that scar's cool. I have a permanent scar on my face. It's like right next to my eye from the most Canadian injury a human being can possibly have. I got a hockey stick to the eye, and it wasn't even in a real game. It was in a gym class. In gym class. Someone hit me in the eye with a hockey stick, and now I have a permanent scar on my eye.
So, you know how like little kids will see their teacher at like the grocery store and like have like an existential crisis and realize why
This is
like, my
impossible.
teacher is like a real person.
This is impossible.
Isn't just like a robot that stays at school and teaches me and like sleeps at the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my version of that, I was like a little kid and we see this mail truck going through the Taco Bell
Taco
drive-through,
Bell.
and I'm like, what is he doing? And like my brother's like, he's getting food. And I was like, why? He's a mailman. All he does is deliver mail. That's his only
Yeah.
purpose. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was so confusing to me as a kid. I was like, what do you mean he's getting food? He doesn't
What
need
the heck,
food.
man?
He just gives mail. That's
He's
like me discovering-
he's a supernatural being. All he does is deliver mail. These creatures don't feed. They feed us mail. And that's all they do. You think it's air that they're breathing? They're on batteries, people. So of course there's no reason why he should be in a Tim Hortons. Or he said Taco Bell.
He doesn't need food. He just gives mail. That's like me discovering empathy that like other people are real.
Oh.
And I had another
Valid.
existential
What the heck
crisis,
was that?
Empathy that like other people are real.
Oh.
And I
Oh
had
my
another-
gosh. From the corner of my eye when I first saw that, I thought it was like a spider. That was gonna be spooky, dude.
Oh.
And I had another existential crisis. I was like 5, and
You had an existential crisis at 5 years old?
I guess, yeah.
What?
Wow.
What happened was I was like, wait a minute. If you're a police officer and your job is to enforce the law, that means you're above the law. So if you
Oh,
want to be a
no.
criminal, just become a police
no.
officer.
Oh, no.
Then you're good. You can do whatever
No.
you want. No one can stop you. I've since learned that's not how the system works.
Probably
Police officers
the
get
worst
arrested.
lesson you could possibly teach any human ever. If there's one mentality that a person should not have, it's probably that one. Out of all of the things you can think of our modern society, that's probably the worst one.
I've since learned that's not how the system works. Police officers get arrested a lot.
Oh my god, what is this level of smooth brain?
Dude, with kid logic, it made sense. It added up.
There was a time when my hand got stuck on a door.
No!
I think this was also when I was like 4 or 5.
I think everyone has
had
to have
this
done that.
Weird, dumb tendency to like stick my hand, in the back of a door. So I saw that my brother was in one of the rooms, like in the bedroom, and then the door was open. And just to, play a little prank, just be silly and stuff, I stick my hand into the back of the door, just slide it right in there, and then just like wiggle it around so that my brother would like notice it.
He's
And
gonna
I'm just
do-
like, hey,
Don't
it's
do it!
me. I'm right here. And without saying anything,
don't,
my brother
don't,
just
no.
closes the door on me. And all of my nerve endings just crumpled to my brain all at once, just telling me, scream, scream, scream.
Oh my gosh.
And then that's when I screamed.
When you said,
But like no bones were broken, surprisingly.
Oh my gosh, that is the most horrific thought ever. I think I've already animated this in a video before, and when I say animation, I don't mean drawn, I mean do it the other way. I think I already told the story of when I was 5 and I put my finger into the gears of an exercise bike back when we had old cheap exercise bikes from the 80s where the gears were all exposed, back when those were a thing. Yeah, I put my finger in that, and that should have been natural selection, but unfortunately I survived.
this is some mischief me and my brothers would get down to. We would get these laundry baskets, and they were like kind of long and skinny. but,
Laundry
like, not
baskets.
tall, so you could sit in them. And so we would get those.
Oh no, I think I
and
know where
ride
this is
them-
going. I know where
Oh,
this is
yeah.
going.
We would ride them down the stairs.
Oh,
at
yeah.
incredibly great speed. So after doing that so many times, like sledding down the stairs, basically, I was like, okay, I guess this works with anything. So I got like a
absolutely.
big cardboard box
No.
and got in the cardboard box.
No.
And I was like, okay, here we go. And of course, the cardboard box doesn't have rounded bottoms, so it like caught.
Yeah.
And I just all the way down the stairs. Like I took a tumble, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
another
Oh,
reason why
God.
my brain's smooth. It's been
That's one of those things you see in movies where they gracefully slide down the stairs, but then you try it in real life and you realize, oh, that's not how it actually works in the real world. Oh my gosh, no way.
That's probably another
Oh,
reason why my
God.
brain's smooth. It's been slammed against the inside of my
Yeah,
skull
just
so
the,
many
just the
times.
sheer amount
it
of
happens,
times
it
just
happens.
bump your head.
It's been sanded down, just totally smooth.
It happens.
Yeah, that was not good.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So back in middle school, one of my favorite classes that I always looked forward to having was physical education.
Oh,
and
yeah.
whilst in most of my lectures, I tried finding different ways to snooze or stuff a big bag of Dorito chips under my desk and finish it quietly before class ended. PE was just another recess where I could play sports with my friends and just genuinely have fun.
Oh,
But
yeah.
all that was taken away from me when this one PE teacher came along. And we're gonna call him Mr. Payne.
Mr. Payne!
wasn't just your average, hey, let's divide up into teams and play some good old dodgeball kind of teacher.
No,
Who would
if TJ looked like me, I don't know if he'd be able to animate that. I don't think TJ would have been able to animate that last scene if he looked like me. All right, Mr. Payne. All right, let's talk about it, TJ.
No. He was the kind of teacher who would immediately get you down on the ground to do some military
Push-ups.
push-ups. And if you weren't counting loud enough, he was like,
Louder!
Louder!
Louder! Say it louder!
first of all, there was no one in school that was as jacked as Mr. Payne. Like, as a skinny little
I'll
middle
come over
schooler,
there and
he
do
looked
something about it.
massive to me. He always wore these exact same tight-fitting black training t-shirts that made his muscles look like they were about to pop out of his skin or something.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, he was also the official coach for the varsity.
I remember when I was back in the day when my muscles were real big, I would wear tight shirts and I thought it was cool. We're talking like 10 years ago at this point. I used to think having the biggest muscles possible was the coolest. As you can tell, I abandoned that life to some extent. But I mean, not completely. Not completely though, you know, not completely.
Pop out of his skin or something. Plus, he was also the official coach for the varsity boys basketball team, which meant that he knew how to keep the rowdy bunch in check. He was
Oh,
like
no.
Fletcher from Whiplash, or the Gordon Ramsay of physical education.
Oh, no.
He was the kind of teacher that was not afraid to push you beyond your limits by any means possible. If he wanted you to eat a bowl of bark and nails, you were gonna
He
eat
ate a bowl of
those
nails
bark
for
and
breakfast this morning.
along with the bowl.
Without any more.
And even the table itself. Now, one thing you're gonna know about Mr. Payne was that
SpongeBob and Patrick.
hey, have you heard? This bozo named TJ Toons got his YouTube account hacked a few weeks ago.
I know. Hasn't he heard about online protection? It's like he's asking for his computer to get hacked.
Yeah,
Oh,
if only
no.
he was using.
All right. Classic sponsorship. I cannot include the sponsorship segment. We will get back to the gym, but I hope that TJ Toons made a lot of money from the sponsor.
Now, one thing you gotta know about Mr. Payne was that lack of competence and frailty was intolerable. Standing in
no.
the shade during a blazing hot day. F. Sitting on the ground after a strenuous exercise. F.
F.
Walking for a few seconds during a mile run.
F.
F. And a sprinkle of detention.
Ooh.
Yeah, he can just do that. Oh, and all the students were super reluctant in speaking up or asking any questions because if you said anything
His name is Mr. Payne.
remotely dumb or slightly out of line,
Payne.
this happened.
And that's how you play basketball. Any questions? Yes,
Adam?
Mr. Toons?
Can I sub out during a game when I'm thirsty?
F.
Do birds lay eggs in the air?
No.
Do cows grow on trees?
No,
I don't
sir.
think so.
Good! Now go put on a heart rate and run a mile.
Yo, shout out to the homie. Something else YT. I recognize that voice from anywhere.
I recognize that voice anywhere.
If Mr. Payne had a knack for anything, it was definitely making people suffer through his exercises. But among all these exercises, the worst out of every single one
Swimming?
of them
Drowning?
was none other than
Drowning.
treading water. Now, if there's one thing that I can't do for the life of me, is this.
That is hard.
How?
You got to be honest. That's real
How
hard.
are they doing this? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a pretty good swimmer and I have no problem swimming laps around the pool. But for some reason, I just couldn't tread water.
Wow.
And knowing this, you would think Mr. Paint would maybe put me aside in the shallow end of the pool and teach me how it's done like a normal swimming teacher. But nope, he put me smack dab in the deepest, darkest part of the pool and proceeded right to the main event.
Yeah, that's
We
not
called it-
safe. That's not safe. That's a lot like when I had my first driving lesson. I had been behind the wheel of a car like twice in my life, just in like a parking lot. But my driving instructor, he brought me to the busiest road of my city that I lived in and just told me to go. And like, he made me drive on it. And I asked him, hey, homie, if I had never driven before in my life, would you have still made me do that? And he's like, yes. That's like what Mr. Payne is doing. Except instead of just playing with one life, my driving instructor was playing with his life and mine. Unbelievable. Some people are true sociopaths.
We called it the
Pain.
treading circle.
Oh.
The way this exercise worked was that we had to tread water for 15 whole
15
minutes while
minutes?
linking our arms over each other's shoulders in one big circle.
Okay,
So
that's
if the guy
awful.
beside you started struggling and panicking, you were dead. But that's not all. To make it even worse, Mr. Payne would make us take turns in carrying this 10-pound rubber brick over our heads. And
what?
if you dropped it before he blew the whistle, everyone in the class got an F for the day.
Oh
now,
my
this was me
gosh.
in middle school. I know.
That's fine.
I was one scrawny-looking noodle-arm beta male. Not only were we unable to use our arms to tread, but as you can tell from the picture, my muscles just weren't developed
They just weren't there
enough
yet.
for this. And to top it all off, I was right next to one of the least fit kids in our class. This wasn't even a PE exercise anymore. It was attempted murder! Surprisingly though, I was able to survive the first few minutes of the exercise.
Oh
but
my
then,
gosh.
it was finally my turn
To
to
hold
take
the
over the
weight.
brick.
Let's
Once it was
go.
passed down, I knew that nothing else mattered more than this very moment because if I dropped it,
insane.
then everyone got an F. This
That's
meant a
insane.
lifetime of
This is
bullying and
actually
being made
insane, dude. Because here's what you have to think about. Holding the weight isn't just harder because you are now holding weight and it's heavier. When you're holding the weight, you can't use your hands to tread the water anymore. Normally, when you're treading water, you use your feet, but you also use your hands a little bit. You know, it makes it a little bit easier. Not only are you carrying weight, but you can't use your arms at all. That's like 10 times as hard.
This meant a lifetime of bullying and being made fun of. And I wasn't having any
Heck
of that.
no.
There was
You
5
got this.
seconds remaining on the clock, and by some miracle, I managed to keep the brick above water in the expense of my head being completely submerged underwater.
Oh my gosh.
And at this point, I was literally breathing in and gulping down a crap ton of water for air. And before my brain could panic and give up on everything altogether, I finally heard it.
Pass. Pass it to the next person.
Take the break! Hey, where are you going? It's okay, don't look back. Don't look back. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
got this,
Who cares
TJ.
about an F? I'll die trying to finish that exercise. All I gotta do is get on land. That's right. That's right.
There will be
Come
no
on, legs.
consequences, I'm
Don't
sure.
give up on me now. Come on. Almost.
There will be no consequences. This will go fine.
Mr. Payne obviously saw the
Sorry.
sad public display of me thrashing and bashing like a maniac, so he casually stepped in to save me without breaking a sweat.
Thank you, Mr. Payne.
And
That was
then I
not
passed out.
painful.
Thankfully, I didn't take the blame for the class failing, but despite my best efforts, I still got an F for not finishing the task.
What?
After this grueling and embarrassing near-death experience, I hit the cafeteria to take a breather to treat myself for all the crap I went through for the day.
Wow. Mr. Pain. Not only are we talking about physical pain, but we are also talking about emotional pain. They don't call him Pain for nothing. They don't call him Percy Payne Jackson for nothing. Wait, Percy Jackson's a real person, isn't it? Nope. It's a fictional character. Wait, what? Percy Jackson's white? I did not think I was speaking of a white man when I said Percy Jackson.
I hit the cafeteria to take a breather to treat myself for all the crap I went through for the day.
You earned it.
Before I could even pick out anything, I heard a very familiar voice call out to me from behind.
Mr. Toons!
Yes, sir?
Yes, Mr. Payne? Yes, Mr. Payne? You passed. You passed the test. Good job. You're okay. You passed. You're good. You're good, Mr. Toons. Mr. Toons, you're okay.
Pick a drink.
It's on me. You did good work out there.
Oh, right. Sorry for holding the line. I actually haven't decided yet. You can order first if you want. I don't mind.
No, I mean pick a drink. It's my treat.
You did good.
Huh?
Yeah, go ahead. It's fine. It's on me.
Nice.
Okay.
Mr. Payne.
Thank you.
Mr.
Keep it up.
Mr. Payne, Mr. Prosperity, Mr. Plenty of drinks to go around, Mr. Payne, Mr. Shane. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm struggling here. By the way, people, if you're liking this video so far, make sure you're subscribed to TJ Toons. He did all the hard work on these videos, and we are just checking him out and having fun. Support the original creator and support yourself. Okay.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Nice. This is nice.
You know that moment when someone you know, who's always been so mean and so harsh to you, suddenly show you one tiny
I'm proud of you,
act
TJ.
of kindness, and it somehow becomes this huge emotional
Core
slap
memory
across your face that hits you way harder than 1,000 normal acts of kindness from a regular friend?
It didn't happen.
This was that moment.
Nice.
I freaking chugged that drink with tears rolling
Yes!
down my eyes.
All of the
And that's
pain!
when I realized this was Mr. Payne.
Plot twist, he made you drink a drink that looks exactly like the pool water you almost drowned in. He's just trying to mentally torment you. Plot twist, he truly is Mr. Payne all along.
That's when I realized this was Mr. Payne. The kind of teacher that you hated with every fiber of your being, but also respected, admired, and wanted to impress just as much. I've been so caught up in just how much I hated the way he taught, or just the things he made me do, that I completely forgot about how much of an impact he's made in my life.
Wow.
Looking back on it now as a grown adult, I only have respect and appreciation for what he did for me as a teacher. And I guess that was just Mr. Payne's way of showing that he cared. At the end of the day, he was still the worst PE teacher ever.
Okay. I learned that despite Mr. Payne being an awful, horrible, mean person, he's still a great guy. Final verdict? Stay away from Mr. Payne. He's really mean and puts you through a lot of bad stuff, but in a good way. Deep down, he's truly a great guy. He's just also the worst. I don't know.
At the end of the day, he was still the worst PE teacher ever. But then again,
Maybe he was the best.
also kind of the best. Ever since I was a kid, I've never had any big health issues growing up, other than being super skinny and self-conscious about
Same.
my looks. I've always been pretty healthy all my life. Then out of nowhere, Mother Nature was like, hey yo, this kid's had it too good for too long, so I'ma hit him with a little something that he probably doesn't deserve, but I don't care, I'm freaking Mother Nature. I'ma do whatever I want. And boom, I got struck by a random symptom called vertigo. More specifically known as benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, or BPV for short. Essentially, it's a symptom where changing the position of your head can trigger a false sense of rotational movement around you that can normally last up to a minute or so, which doesn't sound all that bad when presented in words, but trust me when I say this, the day I woke up with this symptom was the day I learned true fear.
Oh,
It was like going
no.
on one of those circular amusement park rides on turbo speed,
And then you can't get off.
but without any safeties on.
Oh.
Yeah, I was not having a fun time. After the spinning finally settled down, I felt sick to my stomach. And we're not talking about some average motion sickness here. No. I'm telling you, this feeling of nausea hit different. It felt like I just finished skydiving out of a plane, but for some dumb reason, I decided to do a million cartwheels midair before landing on the ground. I'm okay.
That makes it more fun.
This lasted for hours, and because the pain was so bad, I just wanted someone to ram me on a wall and knock me unconscious. Maybe even put me out of my misery.
Oh my
mom called up
gosh.
a friend who wasn't exactly a doctor.
Wow. So far, very optimistic from TJ. But hey, I understand. I have had horrible days of horrible pain that last all day, and you're at that point where you're like literally just being unconscious would be better. I understand. That sounds really rough. And I do hope this is something that he's, been able to get worked on or have some improvements for. Let's find out.
Maybe even put me out of my misery. My mom called up a friend who wasn't exactly a doctor, but she was pretty experienced in the field of medicine. And once she arrived, she was given all the details to my condition and was like, "Yep, sounds like Popov." Then after giving me
Popov.
some simple treatments to ease the pain, she proceeded to tell me that I might need to stay in bed for the next few weeks. Which wasn't good news for me because I had a video to finish with a deadline. So I asked if they could just call the ER and have me go to the hospital instead. But because of the whole situation, that wasn't really an option.
Wait, so
And
this happened
with a heavy-
recently in terms of when he made this video, it happened not too long before that. Wow. That's crazy. But wait, you had a video to finish so you wanted to go to the ER? Or you just knew that after the ER you had to go be in bed for a couple weeks? I don't know about you, but when I was in the ER, I was not able to work on no RobertIDK videos. I can tell you that much.
And so, with a heavy heart, I updated my social media about my current situation and had no choice but to give up on posting for the month. Then when all hope seemed lost, an Aussie friend of mine who recently graduated with a doctor's degree messaged me with a solution, which was a 90-second procedural exercise that could potentially reduce or expunge the symptoms altogether. This exercise was called the Epley maneuver. Now, hearing this, you would think that I'd be keen to try this immediately, but nah fam, there was one tiny problem. It was the word potentially. This meant that the effects weren't exactly foolproof, and to me, that just wasn't gonna cut it. I mean, there was no way I was gonna go through 90 freaking seconds of deadly
90
spinorama
seconds,
if it
TJ!
wasn't gonna work 100%. So I thanked my friend and decided to take the longer route to recovery. And
Bro, TJ, what the heck? When I was sick a couple years ago, I literally would have tried anything. I would have tried anything to feel better. If I got that message, I would get down on my knees and be like, please let this be the thing that helps me feel better. But different strokes for different folks, I guess. I hope that it works for him.
my friend and decided to take the longer route to recovery and hope that somehow the Popov would just disappear on its own over time. Besides, all I had to do was just lie down in bed and relax and maybe even binge some anime while I'm at it. So it didn't seem that bad.
Several days later.
It's not bad.
So, how are you feeling? I wanna die. Okay, I don't know if you've ever lied down on your bed and not be able to get up for an entire month, but it's not exactly the ideal comfy paradise that you might think. First, let's talk about eating. People normally don't eat while lying flat on the ground.
He had to be
because
flat the
obviously
whole
it's
time?
much harder to swallow, and there's also the high risk of indigestion. I was given soup for over a week.
He couldn't even sit up? You couldn't even sit? Really? You couldn't even sit? Wow. Okay, this was bad. This was really bad. And also, I don't know if he's gonna mention this, but if he's watching anime on his phone and he's laying down, your arms are gonna get so tired holding up that phone. But yeah, eating when you're laying down is very much not ideal. Our bodies were designed to be upright, and anything active that our body is doing, which digesting food is it's an activity for your body. Yeah, you want to be upright. And that's not to say I never sneak a Pop-Tart or two in the middle of the night because I can't sleep because I'm so hungry.
Lola, can I have a Pop-Tart in bed, please?
But generally speaking, don't do that.
I was given soup for over a week, and even that was too difficult for me to digest.
Wow.
Same thing applied to drinking water, and I'd even choke on some if I wasn't careful. Then there was brushing your teeth, washing your hair, personal hygiene. And don't even get me started about taking a leak or going for number 2, cause
Dude, try the
I
thing.
won't. It's embarrassing.
Try the thing. I use those. I did not do that. That was the nice thing about being hospitalized for a stomach issue was that I couldn't eat, so I only had to go number 1 in the bathroom. I never had to worry about the other one because I couldn't eat for weeks. So I did have the bottle experience where you had to do that into a bottle, but I did not have the newspaper experience for the other one. Is that what he's implying? I guess that's what he's saying. I didn't have that, okay.
But none of these even came close to the level of discomfort I faced with this next one. Introducing bed sores. You suck! Now, you might not have had a chance to develop one of these bad boys, cause, well, you've probably never had to lie down on your bed for more than a day or two. But to put it simply, bed sores are painful aches and ulcers that form on the area of your skin that are under heavy pressure from lying down in bed for a long period of time. In order to ease some of the pain, I had to constantly shift my weight to distribute the pressure around the back of my body, which helped a little bit in the beginning, but at some point, it just stopped working, and my whole body just felt this constant wave of agony that not only affected my mood, but I can't even recall how many times I've cried myself to sleep just because of how sad of a state I was in.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, dude. Okay. All right. Okay. Bed sores. Yes. That is one thing is if you are in the hospital or if you're bedridden and you're there for like weeks or whatever, it's extremely important that if possible, you get up and like just even if you don't leave your bed, just like moving around is important because your body, like, you need to. It's just really important. So as difficult as it may be, if you are bedridden, and hey, maybe there's someone watching this right now who is bedridden and going through a hard time and watching my videos to feel a bit better. And if you are, I genuinely appreciate you so much and you're gonna get better soon. And I appreciate you and you're cool. But yeah, do your best to try and stay as mobile as you can without obviously torturing yourself.
I gotta tell you, this was probably one of the most miserable times of my life. And you're probably sitting there thinking,
well, TJ, you did this to yourself. If only you wouldn't done the airplane maneuver at the start, you would have never had to go through such an
Not necessarily.
But hear me out. You have to understand, for me, going through another one of those spinning doom sensation meant death itself at the time. And my brain desperately sought for other methods, even if it meant having to endure a month's worth of physical and mental torture. However, after a month, I was finally driven to a corner, and at this point, it just wasn't worth it anymore. So I told my mom that I'd try the procedure tomorrow, and she replied with a very warm and kind-hearted tone of, well, it's about time. The night before the procedure was unusually cold and depressing, and I remember thinking to myself, wow. So this is what it feels like to wait for a death sentence. And then came D-Day. Every fiber of my being was screaming in utter fear. It took me a while to muster all the courage I had to even attempt the first 30-second stage of the exercise. But once I began, there was no going back.
Let's go.
It was a long, grueling 90 seconds of pure spinning torment. But after following the procedure down to a T and having the support of my whole family on my back, I finished the last and final stage and got up.
Wait, what? Wait a minute. By the procedure and the night before the procedure, he just meant the 90-second thing you can do in bed? What? I thought he meant he was gonna go into a hospital and do this. Wait, if you decided you're gonna do it, you waited till the next day? Dude! Okay, TJ, I have no concept of how difficult this was. I'm sure this was very, very difficult and very tough. But what I will say, if you are suffering and struggling and there is a thing that will make you feel better and it's hard to do it. Do it. Please. Please do it. Go through the little bit of suffering in order to feel better long term. One of the things that helped me a lot when I was horribly sick and in constant pain was I tried the whole cold plunge thing. I went in, it was the middle of winter, and I went into the freezing cold pool and I stayed in for like, at first it was like 2 seconds, then the next time it was like 30 seconds, then a minute, and then 3 minutes, and all of that. And it was one of the only things that made me feel better. And I still do cold plunges to this day, and I never want to do it before I get in. I'm always like, I don't want to get in it yet. I don't want to get in it. But then I do, and I feel better. Is this another example? I don't know what this experience feels like. I'm not trying to act like I do, but ideally, if you are struggling, please do the hard thing to make yourself feel better.
Finished the last and final stage and got up. Then at that moment, I was nervously waiting for the same old unbearable nausea to take over my body, but instead, I felt fine. I was actually fine.
Wow.
It worked! Although my body wasn't in tip-top shape, the freedom I felt for the first time in weeks was beyond heavenly. And the recovery process that followed right after still took a while, but it was only a matter of time before I could hold my pen again and start working on my videos.
Nice.
Looking back on this now, I still have no idea what caused the perv in the first place, but I decided I wouldn't take any more chances, so I've carefully given more thought into taking better care of my health and really learned to appreciate all the little things in life, even if it's truly as simple as getting up from your bed.
Oh man, that is such a real thing, dude. When you are sick in a way where you literally can't experience normal life anymore, oh my gosh, your priorities change so much. When you get better, it's like, I will never take drinking water for granted again. I will never take breathing air for granted again. I think more of the world needs that kind of mentality. I think the most miserable people on the earth are the people who take everything for granted. The people who don't take a moment to even thank the fact that we can have sunshine or rain, clean air to breathe, and clean water to drink. Literally, not everyone even has that. And I think the happiest people are the people who take the time to appreciate just life, being able to be alive and free and healthy and safe. Because that literally, when everything else is gone, that's literally the only thing that will ever matter to you. So TJ, I respect it. You seem very cool. Thank you for that great story. And homies, here's TJ's channel. Make sure you're subscribed to him. These videos were really great, and you need to show him support. And here are 2 videos that I think you will like. I've picked both of these videos out. You are guaranteed to either love this video or love this video. I'll see you here. I'll see you there. Peace out, people. I appreciate you. Bye.